Please remain standing for the invocation. Let us pray. Great God, creator and sustainer of the universe, we gather to give thanks for the frontiers of our lives and the life of Lycoming College, for the occasions when challenges presented opportunities and generated dreams for the future. We lift before you and one another those who once walked, lived, worked, and studied here, represented today by class members and emeriti faculty and trustees, to make this a goodly place, or as the psalmist said, made it possible for our generation to have a goodly heritage. We remember the frontier of the academy and those now over 200 years ago who established a school for the education of youth in the English and other languages, in the useful arts, sciences, and literature. We remember the frontier of the seminary, when Benjamin Creever transformed the school by welcoming young women and expanding the curriculum. We remember the frontiers of the junior college and the college, as John Long and Robert Rich fulfilled their dreams of a fully accredited liberal arts and sciences college. We lift before you, O God, the frontier that is today. We ask your blessing upon our new president, Charles Edmonds, and alumnus, as he assumes formal leadership. And we ask your blessing on us, all of us, that we might be intentional witnesses, participants in the expanding mission of Lycoming College as it moves into the future. Amen. You may be seated.
Good morning. Good morning. Better. As chair of the Board of Trustees and a proud graduate of Lycoming College, it's my privilege and honor to welcome each of you to campus today for the inauguration of Lycoming's 16th president, Dr. Charles "Chip" Edmonds. Distinguished delegates of educational institutions, representatives of professional and learned societies, President Emeritus Jim Douthit, President Emeritus Ken Trotke, members of the Board of Trustees, faculty and staff, students, alumni, community members, and the family and friends of President Edmonds. Your participation here today lends distinction to the occasion and affirms the enduring strength of our shared commitment to Lycoming's bright future. Established in 1812, Lycoming College has the distinct honor of being one of the nation's 50 oldest institutions of higher education. The installation of a new president constitutes a defining moment in the life and legacy of this distinguished institution. Today's ceremony is a time to reflect on the transformative moments in our college's 213-year history, while also boldly looking ahead to the future that President Edmonds, a fellow Lycoming College graduate, visions for our alma mater. We're pleased to have with us today representatives from 5 of the college's very important constituencies. Each has enthusiastically accepted an invitation to present greetings. With us this morning, Minta Kreis, class of 2000, current chair of the President's Leadership Council. Pamela Kuntz, class of 2026, president of the Student Senate. Murray Hanford, Director of Visual Communications here at Lycoming College. Len Cagle, PhD, Chair of the Lycoming College Faculty, and Lee Howe, Class of 1978, Secretary of the Lycoming College Board of Trustees. Minta.
Greetings on behalf of the Lycoming College alumni. My name is Minta Kreis, and I'm a class of 2000 graduate of Lycoming College. It's my privilege to welcome you to this momentous occasion, the inauguration of our fellow alumnus, Chip Edmonds. Chip was a classmate of mine and has been a friend to my husband Matt and I for many years. We admire Chip for his leadership, his faith, and his love for Lycoming College, so we could not be more excited for today. If you would have asked me 25 years ago who would have been the best person to represent and lead Lycoming into the future, I would have said Chip Edmonds. My answer from back then is the same today. Chip, on behalf of the over 16,000 graduates whose lives were shaped here, thank you for representing Lycoming College with such integrity and for demonstrating to our current student body that anything is possible after their Lycoming College education. We're proud to stand with you, one of our own, as stewards of Lycoming's past and champions of its future. Thank you and welcome.
Good morning. My name is Pamela Kuntz. I am a senior here at Lycoming College and serve as president of the Student Senate. Within the scope of my role as Senate President, I set out to stay aware of the campus culture and see how well aligned it is with our campus values. A way that we define and shape our campus values here at Lycoming is with our Warrior Pledge. It goes like this: Warriors are respectful of themselves and their community. Warriors are academically honest and seek truth. Warriors are committed to Lycoming. President Edmonds embodies our Warrior Pledge wholeheartedly, which explains why he has managed to connect so well with the students. Since the announcement of President Edmonds' presidency, I have seen him take the time to meet students where they are and make meaningful connections. In the spring, President Edmonds had morning coffee in Cafe 1812, one of our campus centers, listening, learning, and engaging the community. This past fall, he has participated in club and organization events, introducing himself at Senate Monday at 9 p.m., which is late even by student standards. But President Edmonds made it a priority, so he could let students know how to best reach out and that he would always be ready to listen. In the 6 months that President Edmonds has been here as our president, he has proven himself to be welcoming and a communicative leader. His dedication and kindness are inspiring and will lead Lycoming College well in this new presidential term. I'm thrilled to welcome our new president, Dr. Chip Edmonds.
Good morning. It's wonderful to see you. And since President Edmonds and I were both tenors, I thought I would put my remarks to song. I'm kidding. I'm Murray Hanford, the Director of Communications. I'm humbled and feel fortunate to greet President Chip Edmonds today. Working at Lycoming for such a long time, I have a unique vantage point to witness President Edmonds' maturation at Lycoming College. President Edmonds, Chip, was a freshman at Lycoming when we met. He became one of our go-to students as a model for marketing. And no matter the awkward pose, or if we needed him to wear a captain's bicord hat, he was eager to accommodate us whenever we needed him. During that time, you could say he was the Lycoming College young Colonel Sanders, without the black string bow tie or the greasy chicken fingers. Once he graduated, I considered it a distinct honor to be a friend and colleague through his development here at Lycoming and through other institutions. It was always sad when he left, but when he returned in whatever capacity it was, we knew that we were gaining a good person. I appreciate Chip Edmonds' integrity and his ability to communicate. Although I am almost old enough to be his father, well, slight exaggeration, I like to consider myself a wise older brother. It has always been meaningful to work with him, and I look forward to the next facet of his life, and I will do everything I can to make his presidency in Lycoming College sensational. Thus, as a Lycoming staff representative, I fondly welcome you, President Chip Edmonds.
Good morning, President Edmonds. Good morning to all of you. On behalf of the faculty, I'd like to welcome you to this inauguration. In 1947, the Williamsport Dickinson Seminary and Junior College became a four-year liberal arts college and adopted a new name. Since that time, Lycoming College has to date conferred 18,744 bachelor degrees. I actually didn't come up with that number myself. Several people helped me, too many to thank here, but that's a lot of degrees. The college's more recent transition from a regional to a national liberal arts college has significantly enhanced the college's national profile and has helped make Lycoming a much more diverse institution. Our student population is considerably more representative of the cultural and ethnic composition of the United States than it was just 2 decades ago when I first started teaching here. Throughout, the college's commitment to the liberal arts curriculum has remained firm, as expressed in our mission, and I quote, to provide a distinguished baccalaureate education in the liberal arts and sciences within a coeducational, supportive, residential setting. As a faculty member, I sometimes find myself explaining to students, especially first-year advisees, what this means. Why do I have to take that course? A student recently asked, real conversation. I only want to take classes that will help me in my career. I explained to the student how distribution works, that he will take several courses in the humanities, the social sciences, the fine arts, the natural sciences, mathematics, and at least one language other than English, very important to me. I advocated equally for all of these. I told him that I didn't look forward to taking math and science classes when I was an undergraduate student, but that over time, I came to appreciate what I learned in those courses. Lab science classes helped me to better understand how scientific knowledge is produced, recorded, and transmitted, and to recognize that science is a long and continuing dialogue, a complex and sometimes messy and contentious search for the truth. I told him that English 106 will make him a better writer, and I tried to explain why writing still matters, even in the current AI-saturated environment we find ourselves in. I told him that studying philosophy will help him to better form and articulate his opinions and understand all sides of a debate, and to engage with complex ethical and moral problems. The study of history, I said, helps us to better understand our past, as well as how we are able to know about what happened in the past, so that we will know what paths we should and should not take in the present and future. I told him that learning a language could be a life-changing experience that might well send him halfway around the world, where he could gain close familiarity with another culture and its people. I told him that engaging with art and developing his own means of artistic expression is often an end unto itself, but also a means toward developing empathy for others. I argued for all of it, the entire program, because I know after 20 years of teaching here that a good liberal arts education changes lives for the better. What we do here supports our many communities and makes the world we all live in a better place, and I'm proud to be a part of that. The final sentence of the college's guiding principles reads, quote, through a holistic approach, Lycoming College encourages students to become ethical, informed, and engaged individuals. That's what we do here. That's the value of a liberal arts education, and the world needs the liberal arts and institutions like Lycoming College more than ever. Institutions that strive to produce ethical, informed, and engaged individuals. I am confident, President Edmonds, that under your leadership, we will continue this good work.
Good morning, I'm Lee Howe, and on behalf of the Board of Trustees, it is my distinct honor to welcome you as the 16th president of our beloved institution. Your appointment is both historic and deeply meaningful as you return not only as an alumnus, but also as a leader who has already dedicated years of service to advancing Lycoming College in meaningful ways. Your longstanding commitment, your deep knowledge of our traditions, and your proven ability to guide us through times of opportunity and change give us tremendous confidence as you assume this vital role. We recognize that you are not a stranger in stepping into unfamiliar territory, but rather a trusted champion of Lycoming, one who has walked these halls, lived this experience, and worked tirelessly for the good of this place. That perspective will serve you and all of us quite well as we seek to honor the rich history while moving forward with clarity and purpose. Your leadership is rooted in faith, vision, and experience, and we are eager to see how your steady hand and spirit, innovative spirit, will shape the future of our institution. As trustees, we pledge our support to you, your leadership, and the bold path forward. We share in your excitement and determination to strengthen this institution for generations to come, and we are committed to walking alongside of you every step of the way. Together, we will ensure that this college continues to flourish and that the community we all cherish is empowered to meet the challenges and possibilities of the years before us. Welcome, President Edmonds.
Good morning. It is my honor to introduce our inauguration speaker. L. Gregory Jones is president of Belmont University, a position he's held since June 1st, 2021. He earned his Bachelor of Arts and Master of Public Administration degrees from the University of Denver and his Master of Divinity and PhD from Duke University. Prior to serving at Belmont, Greg held a variety of leadership roles at Duke, including 2 stints as Dean of Duke Divinity School, Vice President and Vice Provost for Global Strategy and Programs, and the Williams Distinguished Professor of Theology and Christian Ministry, now emeritus. He has also served in executive leadership as Provost and Executive Vice President at Baylor University. Greg is celebrated as a leader and strategist whose creative engagement has helped institutions across the world and in local communities to create transformational resource models. He is recognized for an entrepreneurial mindset and for his emphases on character and purpose in higher education, both key factors in his leadership at Belmont. Greg has authored or edited 19 books and more than 200 essays or articles. He is known for books on forgiveness, such as Embodying Forgiveness, and the co-authored Forgiving as We've Been Forgiven, and for books on Christian leadership and social innovation, such as Christian Social Innovation and the co-authored Resurrecting Excellence. His most recent book from 2021 is the co-authored Navigating the Future, Traditioned Innovation for Wilder Seas. Greg is an ordained minister in the United Methodist Church and a member of the John Templeton Foundation. He served on their board from 2019 to 2025. He currently serves on the boards of the McDonald Agape Foundation, the India Collective, and several boards in the Nashville community. Please join me in welcoming L. Gregory Jones.
Thank you, Provost Kingery, for that warm introduction. It's a great joy to be with you here today, back in Williamsport and at Lycoming College. Today is a great day for Chip and Erin Edmonds. It's a great day for Lycoming College. It's a great day for higher education that's in desperate need of more creative and dynamic leaders that Chip represents. I don't go back as far as his undergraduate days, but I do remember him as a divinity student. Makes me feel old to realize he was a student when I was dean at Duke Divinity School. But his enthusiasm and curiosity in developing wisdom gave everyone at Duke a clear sense of a very bright future that comes to fruition on this day. So it's a great honor, Chairman Foltz, President Edmonds, to be with you this day. Back in the early days of airplane travel, it took even longer to get from the East Coast to the West Coast. And in one of those early flights, there was a prop plane that was flying from Washington, D.C. to Los Angeles. Somewhere as it was over the Rocky Mountains, the plane descended into a very heavy fog. It slowed down. It was starting to kind of drift one direction or the other. And eventually the pilot came over the loudspeaker and he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, I have good news and bad news. First, the bad news. We're lost. Now the good news. We're 2 hours ahead of schedule." It's not a bad description for where we find ourselves today in our culture, in higher education, in the broader world. In many ways, we sense that we're lost, and yet we're moving at faster paces and speed than ever before. There are lots of reasons for the tumult that we feel in higher education, in the broader culture, in the world. We could spend the rest of our time just enumerating all of those. But even if you factor out all of the demographic and political and educational challenges, if you just focused on the reality of AI and how rapidly it is changing every vocation and everything about our culture, it would be bewildering enough. And yet, it isn't a time when we can just buckle our seatbelts and hold on and hope the pilot will find the path. There is no normal that we'll be able to go back to. There is no new normal that we can point toward. What we need to be is prepared to adapt, to be nimble, to be clear about where we're headed and why, so that we can do so in a way that helps all people flourish. If that's the bad news, that there is no normal to go back to and no new normal that we can confidently point to, the good news is that Lycoming College is extremely well positioned to help lead the way for the future. I want to focus on 3 words that are a hallmark of Lycoming's distinguished 213-year history and point toward a dynamic future under President Edmonds' leadership. The first word is purpose. Too much of higher education is preparing for 1995 in case it comes back again, because it's lost a sense of purpose, of the why people gather for education. It's both a question for individual people to discover that sense of purpose and also for an institution to have a clear sense of purpose. I noted in President Edmonds' initial remarks upon his appointment as president that he quoted John Wesley. And indeed, much of American culture and higher education has been marked by the people called Methodists and that commitment to education as a way that lifts people up and points to a brighter future. It's that sense of an openness to transcendence that's even more important in a world of AI. That sense of purpose is about knowing your why, which helps you navigate the various ups and downs, the joys and griefs, the triumphs and tragedies that afflict any institution and afflict all of our lives. My wife Susan and I team teach a course at Belmont called What's Your Why? We have students from all across campus in that class. And on Mondays each week, we interview distinguished people, leaders in a variety of vocations across the various colleges we have at Belmont. We've interviewed people who are successes at 25 and someone who's still going strong at 83. What's interesting, in the 5 years we've taught that course and all the distinguished people we have, is that very few, if any, of those people are doing now what they thought they'd be doing when they were 18. There are lots of twists and turns, new opportunities, places where what you thought you were going to be doing didn't work out and you had to pivot. And what they discovered was having a sense of purpose, having clarity about what your North Star is critically important. And that's going to be crucial for Lycoming. It's had that sense of purpose in its years in different kinds of forms across that 213-year history. And that willingness to innovate is going to be dependent on that sense of purpose. You see, there's every difference between a jazz combo that has a clear sense of purpose and the beautiful music they make, and a middle school band concert where people are just making it up as you go along. We need institutions with that sense of purpose to make the beautiful music and to have that creative, dynamic sense of the future. So it's about purpose. It's also about character. A liberal arts education isn't about just conferring degrees, although it was an impressive number of degrees that was reported that have been given at Lycoming. But rather, it's about the long-term formation of character that's at the heart of a liberal arts education. There's a story told in a book called Seasons of Life by Jeffrey Marks about a football team in Baltimore, coached by Joe Ehrman, former All-Pro defensive end back when the Colts were in Baltimore. And Jeffrey Marks went up there because he'd heard some strange things about this football team in Baltimore. So he went there during preseason practice, and he listened as the coaches gathered the team around him and said, "What's your job as players?" And they said, "To love each other." And then he said, "What's our job as coaches?" And they said, "To love us." This doesn't sound like a high school football team. And it wasn't because they were like the Bad News Bears and so terrible that they focused on love because they were going to be terrible on the field. This was a team that was ranked in the top 10 in the Mid-Atlantic and sent people off to college scholarships in football. One of the moms came up toward the end of preseason. Jeffrey Marks overheard her as she said to the coach, "How do you think the boys are going to do?" And Coach Ehrman said, "I don't believe we'll know for about 10 years. The mom wanted to know about wins and losses. The coach was focused on the formation of character. The real test of a Lycoming education is not what people are like the day they graduate, as wonderful and as celebratory a day as it is. It's the kind of people they become across time, over 10 and 20 and 30 years. We're suffering in our world from a lack of character in leaders across every sector. Teddy Roosevelt once said, "A leader without character is a menace to society." We need to have a reinfusion of character that comes from the best of a liberal arts education. It's about purpose, it's about character, it's also about wisdom. The cultivation of wisdom is at the heart of church-related higher education. We live in a world where there's a glut of information, there's a glut of knowledge, and a deficit of wisdom. Cultivating that wisdom is critically important in a world that's changing as rapidly as ours is. Indeed, AI can be an extraordinarily useful tool in the classroom and in vocations, so long as it's in the service of wisdom and what I would call a soulmate approach, a sense of the dignity of what it means to be human. As soulmate suggests, humanity was created just below the angels. And cultivating that wisdom of knowing how to use technology and also to acknowledge its limits is at the heart of what education going forward is going to be like. Education at its best cultivates a sense of purpose, a sense of character, a sense of wisdom for students and alumni, as well as in its own culture and identity itself. The leadership that President Edmonds is equipped to provide, and that I trust he will provide, is to take the best of what Lycoming has been in its past and point it toward a dynamic and creative and innovative future to equip the leaders the communities in Pennsylvania, in this region, in this country, and around the world need. I developed a term I call traditioned innovation to say the best innovation happens when we retrieve the deepest wisdom of the traditions of our past. Yaroslav Pelikan, the great historian at Yale, distinguished tradition from traditionalism. He said traditionalism is the dead faith of the living. Tradition is the living faith of the dead. What we need, what Lycoming College needs, what the world needs, is people like President Edmonds to delve deep into the wisdom of the traditions of this university, to the traditions of the Wesleyan tradition, to the traditions of education going back to ancient Greece and Jerusalem, and to find the innovative ways to address a rapidly changing world. If and insofar as you who are faculty and staff, those of you who are students and alumni and parents and friends, come together to support and encourage President Edmonds' leadership, cultivating purpose, character, and wisdom through practices of traditioned innovation, then perhaps we'll discover that not only are we ahead of schedule, but also on course.
As we come to this moment of investiture, I invite us to join together in this time of prayer. This is a great day, so let us be together. O Holy One, source of every human hope. Your love and care touch us all. You disclose yourself through acts of justice and mercy. We give you thanks for this day of celebration for Lycoming College, and particularly for the joy that comes with the investiture of its new president, Charles W. Edmonds, Chip, who embodies Lycoming's very essence. A dedication is always the work of community, and so we dedicate our collective hearts in support of the mission of Lycoming. It is a good and joyous moment to gather to witness how Lycoming transforms lives. Just look at us. We are students, staff, faculty, administrators, trustees. We are members of communities that surround Lycoming, just as those communities are surrounded by these beloved mountains and in this beautiful valley. We are alumni and friends gathering from the farthest reaches. We come from the academy, business, human services, and faith communities, each of us bringing a host of valuable and lived experiences. May our new president feel the fullness of our support in this moment of dedication. In this dedication, we imagine a new chapter in the life of Lycoming College. We are mindful of all that Lycoming has brought to the world, and we are awake to the challenges and conflicts of our day. May our dedication lift up again the essence of Lycoming, revealed in the Greek word on its seal, aletheia, truth. Not a claim of certainty that boasts the truth, but truth that sharpens perspective and illuminates the pathway of our thinking. Truth that resists shallow certainty and requires us to deepen. Truth that calls to our students' hearts, students who so yearn to respond to the challenges of the world. We dedicate our support for President Edmonds as he leads this community of creative, visionary scholars, each of whom lives in the world as keepers of the questions and as a nerve exposed to pain. And we dedicate our support of our president as he leads with courage in times of chaos, discernment in times of ambiguity, wisdom in times of folly, generosity in times of scarcity, and compassion for all he meets. This dedication comes from the deep goodness of our own shared humanity, and it is guided by a ray of hope that goes ahead of us with a force of a transforming courage, so that we will not be daunted by what the world has deemed insurmountable. So in this spirit, we dedicate the investiture of President Charles W. Edmonds. So be it. Amen.
Yep. On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I ask if you accept the vocation to lead Lycoming College as its president, guiding it with wisdom, integrity, and devotion.
I accept the vocation, and I pledge to serve with gratitude, to lead with integrity, and to honor the trust placed in me.
Will you safeguard the traditions of the liberal arts and sciences while nurturing the pursuit of knowledge, discovery, and truth for generations to come.
I will, and I will labor to cultivate curiosity, new and innovative forms of scholarship, and learning and service to humanity at the heart of this academic institution.
Will you strive to build a community of respect and belonging where the dignity of every person is upheld and the gifts of all are welcomed?
I will, and with fidelity ensure that each voice finds place, purpose, and promise here.
Will you dedicate yourself to advancing the mission of Lycoming College, cherishing its history, strengthening its present, and preparing it for a bright future?
I will, and with abiding loyalty to my alma mater, joyfully embrace the responsibilities of the presidency.
On behalf of the Board of Trustees, I invest you with the medallion of the office of President of Lycoming College. Nothing fit with your hat on.
Well, forgive me as I take a moment to take in the depth of my exhilaration and my extraordinary joy to share in this ceremony with you all today. This is a beautiful sight to see from this podium. When Benjamin Creever first gave voice and vision to this academic community, he hoped and prayed that it would be a school of the prophets and the birthplace of souls. As I assumed this role, generations later, standing on the shoulders of giants, benefiting from a rich diversity of people and ideas, and charged with stewarding the good of this place, I am overcome with the magnitude of this responsibility, but also eager and ready to contribute to Lycoming's remarkable legacy as we together meet this moment and build on our capacity for excellence. Chairman Fultz, Vice Chairman Hughes, current and emeritus board members, thank you for the honor of serving as Lycoming's 16th president. Your vision, unwavering support and dedication, and immeasurable desire to strengthen the character of teaching and learning at Lycoming have shaped my own commitment to this place since the very first time I set foot on this campus. It is indeed your leadership and generosity that has and will continue to position Lycoming as a premier liberal arts and sciences institution and one of the fundamental reasons I have confidence in its future. Provost Kingery and members of the Lycoming faculty, I am inspired by your devotion to our students, your skillfulness and artistry as educators, and the depth of your curiosity that contributes to new scholarship and broader service to the institution. Thank you for welcoming me into this role and for the ways in which you have demonstrated your commitment to the work that lies ahead in service to Lycoming's continued ascent as an institution steeped in the traditions of the liberal arts and sciences, but also one that celebrates a history marked by ongoing innovation and pragmatism that reflects our deep understanding and appreciation for the world around us and the ongoing needs of our students and society. Members of the administration and staff, I have personally experienced and encountered the range and diversity of ways that reflect your fidelity to our community. As a longtime staff member, I have learned so much from you about what it means to do your work with pride, distinction, and often without fanfare or praise. You take your work seriously, while also doing so much to create community that is at the heart of our residential campus. I look forward to the ways we will continue our shared commitment to providing a living and learning community that prepares students to contribute their minds, hearts, and souls to make the world a better place. And to our students, I see you all, especially the men's soccer team in the back. Thank you guys very much. I love sharing this campus with you. Thank you also for welcoming me and for the extraordinary ways that you give life to our campus and larger Williamsport area. It is one of the great privileges of this position to contribute to your learning, to watch you compete, see you perform, observe how you construct your ideas, beliefs, and arguments, demonstrate your care and interest in your fellow students, grow as leaders, and learn how to navigate a complex world that demands resilience, empathy, hard work, integrity, and grit. I am excited for the many ways that we will learn and grow together. And I commit to you that this is a community that will challenge you academically, seek to draw out what is best in you socially and ethically, and to take great interest in all that you accomplish personally and professionally. I want to take this opportunity to express my thanks to those who have made today possible, as well as the individuals and members of my family who over many decades have imprinted themselves on my life, my soul, and my love of education. Reverend Dr. John Piper, as Dean of the college, member of the History Department, and my faculty advisor as a history major, your teaching and mentoring were central features of my undergraduate education at Lycoming. Your scholarship, your passion, and rigorous expectations in the classroom made me a better writer, scholar, and speaker. You remain an inspiration to me, and I am deeply grateful that you are sharing in this ceremony. President L. Gregory Jones, as Dean of Duke Divinity School, your magnanimous presence and tireless dedication to the Divinity School community shaped my entire experience at Duke. Your recruitment of exceptional faculty, development of new academic programs, construction of an extraordinary new edifice, ability to secure major resources to advance Duke and theological education, and your scholarship and teaching in forgiveness, reconciliation, and restorative justice provided a vision for generations of students as a model of what it means to be ambitious while in service to others. I am deeply grateful and moved by your address today, and celebrate the ways in which you continue to give so much of yourself to provide leadership to our academic and theological communities, both in the United States and around the world. I am overwhelmed by all of you who are participating in today's investiture. But it points to the enduring role that Lycoming College has played in so many of our lives. Welcome to all of our institutional delegates, our Lycoming class representatives. As you didn't know, a class from 1959 all the way to 2025 is represented this day. My fellow Lycoming alumni who have traveled from near and far, leaders, community members, and elected officials from Williamsport and our region, our amazing international students who are serving as our flag bearers for each of their home countries, our student organizations and leaders, members of our President's Leadership Council, our Alumni Association Executive Board, and our Warrior Club Athletic Council. You bring meaning to this ceremony and signal to all the treasure that is Lycoming College. And thank you to the Inauguration Committee for your tireless efforts. And to members of our choir and band. As St. Augustine said, those who sing, a little poetic justice here, or make music, pray twice. Thank you to my good friends and colleagues, Minta, Pamela, Murray, Len, and Lee, for your more than generous greetings and expressions of welcome. And thank you, Dr. Wolf and Reverend Sweet, for not only your prayers today, but also the grace and wisdom of your leadership and the ways it continues to reflect on the good of this place. Lycoming has benefited from exceptional leaders and campus members across generations who have made Lycoming a truly first-rate institution. I want to name just a few. several of whom are here today who impacted the trajectory of my life and career. President Emeritus James Douthat, it was your leadership of Lycoming College that gave me my first glimpse of what it means to be a college president. The lasting impact of your institutional stewardship and your willingness to make good and sometimes hard decisions have been formational for me. Thank you for your ongoing support and wisdom. Fred and Pat Thayer, your capacity to bring out what is best in students as musicians but also as human beings remains one of my greatest memories at Lycoming. You provided an example to emulate both in pursuing excellence and human kindness. Trustee Emeritus Dan Foltz, who was treasurer when I started working at Lycoming. Art Haberberger, who was chair of the board when I returned in 2009. Jim Spencer, my first boss here in enrollment. Emeritus Professors Bob Larson and Dick Morris from the History Department. Professor Emeritus Jack Deal from Biology. Coach Rob Eaton, who recruited me to Lycoming. And Jancy Hauk, my boss and mentor at Yale University, and most definitely President Emeritus Kent Trochty. Thank you for the ways your dedication, inspiration, and exemplary careers inform my personal and professional journey. I'm getting close to the end of my thank yous. I am proud to acknowledge my many fellow classmates, my teammates, and good friends from Lycoming, Duke, and Penn. Thank you for going to such great lengths to be here today. I am honored by your presence and continually reminded of how my education was enriched because of the learning and growing we did together. It is a testament to the centrality of being in community with others to amplify and magnify the educational and personal outcomes that matter most. And most notably, my family. Walter, class of 67, Peggy, class of 69, proud Lycoming graduates. My sister Polly and husband Tom and their children Matthew, class of 2025, William and Emma. My brother Matt, class of 02, and his wife Deb Weinberg, class of 04, and their children Michael, Noel, and Hope. We were raised in a household that revered education, that encouraged curiosity, that loved music and the performing arts, that welcomed different ideas in global cultures, that cultivated a disposition of service and believed deeply in the dignity and goodness of all people. And finally, my wife Erin and our boys, Jacob and Luke. They're not boys, sons, Jacob and Luke. My life is immeasurably richer because of your love, support, and inspiration. Thank you for being here to share in this together. So while my default is to eschew being overly autobiographical, there are two individuals in my family's history who, even though I never met them in the flesh, reflect my love of education and its most transformational characteristics. Two grandfathers, one of whom was a college professor who taught kinesiology, and the other who started their career working in a coal mine at 14 years old. These two individuals and their life experiences have been passed down. I love teaching. I love learning. I love the pursuit of knowledge and the exploration of history. I believe that innovation and new disciplines contribute to the vitality of educational institutions and their power to transform lives for the better. I'm also gritty, hardworking, kind of wince at hubris. I have a healthy skepticism of those who pursue power, and I like to get my hands dirty. And above all, I approach life and work with a deep sense of gratitude and service to others, and I fully ascribe to the Latin root of education, or educare, to draw out and cultivate what is inside each one of us. Lycoming has drawn out what is good, beautiful, and true in so many people over its 213-year history. So I share these stories because I continue to learn more about the good of this place. I encounter and uncover aspects that both delight and inspire me, especially in this moment in which higher education must once again meet its most modern or current set of challenges by tapping into our most exceptional tradition. And that is Lycoming's capacity to examine, evaluate, and respond to the needs of students, the economy, our democracy, and our society. And doing all of this with a healthy sense of confidence, but unpretentiousness. Lycoming started as an academy, became Pennsylvania's first private junior college, then a 4-year institution, and now number 96 on the U.S. News' top national liberal arts college list. I'll admit that my knowledge of Lycoming's history and evolution into a national liberal arts college was primarily informed by the innovations undertaken since the 1940s. And for those of you who know this institution's history, it was in 1947 that we officially became Lycoming College under the leadership and presidency of Long. It was 20 years later in which President Wirtz transformed Lycoming into a truly residential campus with an architecture and setting on par with the most preeminent small colleges in the country. And since that time, Lycoming has continued to build its reputation and standing as an academic community that holds in tension both theory and practice, thinking and doing, humanities and sciences, applied academic experiences that extend the classroom, and academic programs like business, accounting, education, and criminal justice delivered in the context of a liberal arts curriculum. For over 200 years, Lycoming has been about the noble work of educating students for lives of service, leadership, enterprise, and the public good by integrating theory and practice to enable students to challenge their current ways of thinking, answer questions that don't have easy answers, and solve problems that have not yet been solved. We have always been about the work of teaching students how to think, not what to think. Allow me to walk and take a step back to the 19th century, late 19th century, to a critically important era in the life of this institution that illustrates an inflection point for Lycoming and the breadth and depth of our academic programs and curricular design. The institution was struggling in the aftermath of the Civil War and seeking to regain its financial footing and academic identity in the midst of the Industrial Revolution and under the new leadership of President Gray. It was Dr. John Piper in his seminal 2012 publication of Lycoming's history, in which he noted that it was in this period in which Lycoming's curriculum began to look much less like that of an academy and more like that of a college. In a matter of 20 years, this institution went from 3 areas of study to 13 departments spanning the humanities, the sciences, elocution, modern languages, commercial or accounting or business program, mental science, which we know as psychology, music, art, and creative writing. And in the college's 1882 to 83 catalog, which in addition to listing courses and programs, it was utilized as a marketing tool for prospective students and families, and described the academic program as modern. Lectures included experiments, applied learning opportunities, and practical and scholarly training in all the departments, and noted that students would be prepared to think and investigate for themselves, and such a fund of practical knowledge as it will fit them for the real duties of life. It was also during this era when student clubs, fraternities, and athletic programs took root. Signature buildings were constructed, and this institution began to flourish as a residential college. Now, here's one of the points of true delight. And it is subtle, but a wonderful example worth noting. In this same period, the college was welcoming its first visiting team to complete what we describe today as an accreditation. As you can imagine, the faculty, administrators, and students, yes, they had a very significant role, were quite anxious about this process and how they would be evaluated. To the campus's remarkable surprise, the visiting team delivered a glowing report, and our students were evaluated as credible to teachers and pupils, and some compared favorably with the efforts of students to older institutions of the same grade. All presentations were declared to have demonstrated a very creditable effort for so young an institution, one which we do not fear comparison with any academy or seminary in the state. Fast forward 120 years to Lycoming's reaccreditation in 2000. In the final paragraph of the visiting team's report, they leaned into a popular book by Bill Shore called The Cathedral Within. The report said, "There is a refreshing humility that people here display. Meaningful engagement in lives rather than grandiose public claims is the focus of thinking and activity. Lycoming is truly a temple within, and people here should feel less reticence than we detected for expressing confidence in the quality and character and importance of this fine college. You are, again, in Shore's words, worth more than you think you are. Step back, for from up close, no worthy cathedral can be fully appreciated." Now, I'm not sure how many of you spend time reading reaccreditation reports, but they are not typically cited for their prose or effusive language. That said, what a privilege to see and encounter a through line that spans over a century in terms of the character of our community. These moments of demarcation tell a story about how a college and its people prepare, respond, plan, and execute at critically important times in the life of the institution. And just like individuals, we can learn a lot about academic communities based on how they respond and what they do in moments of transformation, challenge, crisis, opportunity, and new beginnings. These inflection points provide a unique perspective on the good of this place. And it is what I have learned, seen, and experienced about Lycoming in these types of moments that informs my belief and confidence in what Lycoming will now endeavor to do in this moment as we embark on a new beginning. Lycoming has a distinguished legacy as an institution that is often gazed upon the next educational frontier. And while Lycoming will remain grounded in many of its most foundational aspects of teaching and learning on a residential campus, we must also do what we do best: innovate, explore new academic horizons, challenge the status quo, create modern learning and leadership opportunities for students, and build and construct facilities that make possible uncommon outcomes. And doing so with unassuming confidence, authenticity, and a profound understanding of the responsibility to steward and nurture the good of this place and its people. And when we do, may the aspirations of our founder, Reverend Creever, echo through every hall, quad, and classroom, that through our earnest and solemn efforts, Lycoming College may indeed be a birthplace of souls. Thank you.
You may be seated. We have been blessed today to witness the inauguration of the 16th president of Lycoming College, President Dr. Charles Edmonds, or as we lovingly refer to him, Chip. The whole college community, students, faculty, administrators, and staff have been blessed by President Edmonds' leadership, vision, and commitment to the betterment of this institution of higher learning. Alumni and prospective students will experience the blessing of this moment in Lycoming's history for decades yet to come. So let us go forward with renewed purpose. May President Edmonds be endowed with wisdom, courage, and vision as he leads Lycoming College forward. May his leadership inspire us all to pursue knowledge with integrity and compassion. May we continue to be a community where intellectual curiosity is celebrated, where every individual feels a sense of belonging, support, growth, and where we strive to better the world through our service and the application of our education for the common good. May we find strength in our shared purpose, and may our collective endeavors bring about a future with progress, understanding, and hope. Go in peace. It has long been the tradition of Lycoming College to end events such as this with the singing of the Peter Lutkin benediction and sevenfold amen. Choir alumni are invited to join the choir on the risers as we share the benediction with you.